What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Issues Work podcast, hosted by yours truly, Chuck Clemens, and my brother Stephen Hurley. Steve, what's going on, man?
It's going good. Excited to talk to Avery today.
Yes, sir. This is a special episode for me. First episode where we have a guest on, and I think it's only right to have my boy, my brother Avery Brown. Hey, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Chuck?
How's
Thanks
it
for
been, bro?
having
How's
me,
it been
bro.
going? Of course,
Everything
of course.
everything's great, man. Everything's great. Can't complain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just give a little background of Avery, point guard at Columbia. Senior year, he's been there all 4 years now. He's been doing his thing ever since I could remember, like since he was a little kid. He's worked his way up from the Connecticut scene, going from Connecticut, moving his way up to the NEPSEC scene, and then now he's at Columbia. So I'm super excited to have you on this podcast. Just gonna chop it up, break it down your background, your story, and also want to hear more about just college life in general, because that's what our whole podcast is about, is giving the youth and our viewers insight of what college basketball really is. So I think you're a perfect person to come here and do that.
Yes, sir.
To start off, though, I want to give a little background on how I know Avery. Um, I've known Avery since we were like 5, 6, 7 years old, man. Like playing basketball at CT Elite. Avery's
hmm
a little bit younger than me, so like he was always kind of playing up. I think I'm a couple years older than Avery, so he was always playing up with my team. And when you're an older player, you're like, I'm not trying to give these young bulls a ball. Like say I'm trying to get mine. But Abe, even since back then, he was like, you could see some of those with his game that he was just super advanced and just super like better than his age group. So when we were playing back then, it was like I think we were kind of like the 1-2 punch. It was like I'm trying to get mine. Let me go pass it to Abe, get Abe to do his thing, and that's kind of how our relationship started. Obviously, growing up, just watching him has been huge for me, just to see him rise to the ring and stuff like that. So, yeah, Abe. I mean, obviously, you're inspiration for a lot of people, especially in Connecticut. I don't know if anyone's giving you flowers for that, but man, you're inspiration for a lot of people out here, man. So.
I appreciate you, bro. Hey, that love is mutual. Real talk, man.
Already. So let's get into it. Let's talk about hear about your basketball journey, man. Started at Fairfield Prep, made your way to the NEPSAC scene, and then obviously went to Columbia. Start from freshman year of high school, man. Let's get right to that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I started, like you just said, my freshman year at Fairfield Prep. Previously before that, I spent a couple years at Hampton Hall. In
Mm,
my eighth grade year, I actually played varsity basketball in the NEPSAC. I think they're Class B at the time.
mhm.
Which is a little lower than what I ended up playing a couple years later. But yeah, that was like my first initial, adjustment to high school basketball. And then yeah, I decided to, transfer to Fairfield Prep. I had a great freshman year.
You
I,
did.
I I can't even remember. It's been so long now what our actual record was. Um, but I think it was a great year. We lost to Hill House, I think, in the first round of like I don't even know if it was the state. I think it was the states. And they had like Desmond Claude in that team. We were both freshmen. He's another Connecticut basketball star. Um, and it was a competitive game. I think we ended up losing by like 2 or 3. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think I averaged about like 20, a little over 20 points my freshman year. Um, and actually, so Leo Redgate was our head coach at the time. And after that season, um, he had resigned. He wasn't going to be the coach anymore. And me and my dad were just looking for other options in schools. I had went to Yale Elite Camp, their summer basketball camp, and I received my first offer that summer of my freshman year. So that was really when my first recruitment started. Like, and going into it, which was crazy. Like, I wasn't really thinking about college too much at the time. I was just so focused on trying to get better. Like as a young high school player, like 14, 15 years old, I totally forgot about the whole college aspect of it. Like when they offered me, I'm like, I mean, what does this really mean? Like, like my dad really had to explain everything going on
That's
to me.
crazy.
Like I was just like, all right, cool. I got an offer. Like, um, but yeah, so that happened. I had got my first offer, and I had met John Carroll, who was my head coach at Norfolk Mount Herman for prep
Hmm.
school at the camp. At those elite camp settings, there's a lot of D3 schools and high schools that come to watch and try and get a good look at the talent. So I had
Hmm.
met with him, and I actually knew about NMH. My dad used to take me to the Albertus Magnus
Yep.
Showcase Challenge.
Hmm.
Um, in New Haven as a kid. So like I actually knew about the school. I was like I always liked their colors. I'm like, yo, that baby blue and red is
Yeah, yeah.
nice. So I actually knew about them as a kid. And then like it was so weird. I had like a 2 week span to decide if I wanted to go to NMH or not, because I really was
Hmm.
gonna return to Field for Prep
Okay.
that following year. Like I had no intentions of leaving. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just play another year of high school here. Like I said, I was just so innocent with everything. I'm like, yo, I just
Hmm.
want to hoop. Um,
Right.
so I ended up taking a visit to Norfolk Mount Herman. I had to take a little test to get into the school, see if I was qualified. I got in, and then literally in a 2-week span, I had to make a decision to go. And
Hmm.
I made a decision. I'm like, yo, Dad, I think I might need this, to try and make it to the Division 1 level. So ended up doing that, man, going to school a few weeks after that. Um, young kid. I just turned 15 at the time, going to
Yeah.
boarding school. It was about like 2.5 hours away from Connecticut,
Hmm.
NMH. So it was a big adjustment going away from school so young. Um, but yeah, man, that time really matured me as a player, as a individual. Spent a lot of time by myself. I had
Hmm.
a single room, so when I wasn't in the gym, locking in and doing schoolwork, man, I was just chilling by myself, trying to figure out,
Right.
what my hobbies were
Hmm.
and what I like to do in my spare time. And I think
Hmm.
that was a great moment for me. I actually, like, when people ask me about, how was the experience at high school and boarding school so young, I'm like, I loved it. I think
Hmm.
it really developed me as a person and a player. But just to see life outside of basketball, meet new many people. It was like a mini college where it's like so many different types of people, not even just athletes, but people in the arts, just regular students like from different countries and states. So you get to meet a lot of people, connect with a lot of friends, and just stuff that you wouldn't really get at a normal high school, right? If you go to Fairfield Prep, you meet everybody from Fairfield area, you know. So it's like that experience so young really really helped. So yeah, so I spent 4 years at NMH because I had redid my like freshman year when I transferred. So I did 4 years there, man. Played with a lot of great Division 1 players who are pros now. My senior year, our whole starting five was Division 1. High major look. So and it's a big time school, man. I give all the praise to the high school, to NMH and Fairfield Prep.
Steve, he said that he averaged 20 points per game as a freshman at prep. He's not lying. We played him when I was at Notre Dame, and this is the Notre Dame team. We went 27-0. Like we were
Right.
state champs, 27-0. We played Abe when he was a freshman. Um, and this was the Fairfield. There's some Fairfield showcase where it's all
Yeah,
Fairfield.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm telling you, bro, like his team was solid. Like they were like okay, but this like he killed us, bro. Like
yeah.
he
Hey,
came in there,
you know the
killed
crazy
us,
part
bro.
about that? The crazy part that was my first game.
That was your first game.
So it was so weird, bro. I had mono, like
That's
literally.
crazy.
So I had missed. We played Hamden. That was our first game, and I had
Uh-huh.
mono. Like I was out for like a couple weeks.
Oh,
Lost hella
okay.
weight, mind you. I was already skinny.
Right,
Lost
right,
mad
right.
weight. I was sick, coming back, practicing, trying to get my win back. Literally, the Fairfield Prep Showcase, the Christmas tournament, was literally my first games in high school. And I'm not sure if we played you first or Fairfield Ward.
I think
Um,
I think I think we played you guys in the championship. So it might have been
okay,
I
yeah.
might have
So
been
we
the
played
second
you
game, but I
second.
think we played you in the championship
Yeah.
game. I think.
So my
Yeah.
first game was Fairfield Ward, and it went into overtime, and I had like 31, and I was really like, and it was, at that time that was like, how I looked before Fairfield Prep renovated. It's like all wood bleachers.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
Fairfield U's gym now, how
yeah.
nice
It
it
was
is.
it was jumping.
But it was packed though, like it was
Yeah,
crazy, and that was
yeah,
like my first experience. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, and I
yeah.
I had like the best game ever. So
That's
it had all the
crazy.
family there and stuff. That was like one of my. I think about that game so much because it was like not even just being the first high school game ever, just playing at that level,
Yeah,
and just so innocent to everything, where it's just
yeah,
so having fun.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a great experience. But yeah, I
yeah.
remember that Notre game too. It was like you, was it Tyler Bourne,
Tyler Boyd,
Josh?
yeah, yeah. So
Josh
this
was
kid
on that team,
Tyler,
right?
yeah, Josh Reeves, Nori Davis.
Yeah, you
Good
guys
squad,
were.
27-0.
Yeah,
But this kid Tyler was like player of the year that year, senior point guard. He was nasty, and,
Yep.
and him
yeah,
and Avery went at it. So it was like I was
yeah,
like, and Avery was a freshman at the time. So
yeah.
that was when I knew Avery was like, okay, he's gonna get somewhere for
There
sure.
was definitely not a happier group of people than the FCI coaches when they heard he was going to NMH.
Oh
I could
yeah,
tell you
yeah.
that, probably.
Everyone
Facts,
in SEC,
Yeah.
everybody was gone.
most definitely.
So hey, talk about just the differences between the SEAC and making that transition to NEPSAC. Is there anything like that really stood out for you once you made that transition over, basketball wise at least?
Yeah. I mean, the talent is just, everybody's main purpose is basketball, right? So like you go to the prep schools and it's like you might have some dudes at your regular high school where it's like, yeah, I play basketball and football and baseball. Like, you know what I mean? Like you do so many things, whereas basketball is not their main purpose. Like I'm trying to go as high as I can for basketball. And that's basically everybody's intention when you go to a school like NMH. Um, that's literally what they breathe. So just the talent level, the size, is you playing with college size players, and at that level, and it's really just a preparation for college. Like it's a real deal prep school. So not just that, the schedule, NMH, we traveled all across the country. We went to, Bahamas, Belgium, London. We went to so many countries to play, which is so crazy. In high school, it's like this game really takes you so many places. But yeah, just the exposure of it all. Going to a school like that, playing against so many. Our rivals were Brewster Academy. So like, every a couple of times a year, like my first year there, it was like Jalen LeCue, Terrence Clark, Kai Jones. They had a couple other guys and I'm just like, I'm 15, 16 going head
Yeah.
against, and I actually grew up with Jalen LeCue. We played on the same AU team. He was a couple years older than me when I used to play
Okay.
for the New York Gauchos. So I known him
Right.
since we were kids, but
Hmm.
um, like playing against those type of guys. I mean, those internet famous dudes at the time.
Yeah, no, they were going crazy at that time.
Like it was like him, Zion Williamson, Lamelo. Those
Yeah,
are those are
yeah.
dudes typing in on YouTube just to watch.
Hmm.
But so you playing against those type of guys, you know, on a weekly basis, trying to compete with those dudes. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's no better, preparation to get you ready for that college level. So it's a big difference than the FCAC. I say the only benefits that I would say, having that home feeling and
Hmm.
notoriety around Connecticut. But at a
Hmm.
young age, it's like I know I'm not trying to be known around Connecticut. I know that's gonna come
Yeah.
if I make it everywhere else, right? So
Hmm. Hmm.
I just kind of had that mindset about it, but most definitely miss playing in games, around family,
Right.
and around my peers. But yeah, that's really the big difference of it all, man.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's especially now, even like more than back when we were transferring to the NEPSAC and stuff like that. I think um, the SEAC has done a little bit of stuff better in terms of getting a little better for college and incorporating the shot clock. Now they have
Hmm.
these like CX showcases. I think they're making it a little bit better, but
Yeah,
now you see players are just they do well. They're not even like starting at CX school. They kind of just go straight to these NEPSAC schools, and you can't really blame them because it's kind of tough. Like all like the better players
yeah,
per se for the most part are at these NEPSAC schools, and the coaches are going to find them at these schools, and it's just interesting to see like your take on it because obviously I know a lot of people I'm trying to make that jump maybe to go to the NEPSAC school, so that's interesting to see for sure.
yeah,
Um, let's talk about you want to talk about the college recruitment stuff, Steve?
Yeah. So just starting off with the recruitment process, Avery, obviously you go to NMH and start in that process of looking at schools. Maybe just walk through maybe your mindset of like what it was like that ultimately led you to pick Columbia, because obviously you had other interests from other pretty prominent schools, whether it could be at the Power Five level and whatnot. And then maybe at the end, maybe some advice you'd give for younger players that are probably going through a similar process to you.
yeah. Great question, Steve. I mean, I would say, like the whole recruitment. There's so many highs and lows when it comes to recruitment. Like I was telling you guys earlier, my first recruitment offer was from Yale my freshman year, and then I had went to transfer to NMH, and that kind of put me on like a broader scale of just getting seen by a whole lot of coaches. Like I remember my first open run at NMH. It was like Patrick Ewing, the Florida head coach. Like there's so many schools in the Big East and SEC just all in a row, watching us play. And it's like I'm looking at these dudes. I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm just this Pat. Like I remember talking to Patrick Ewing after. I'm like, yo, my dad is the biggest Nick fan you'll meet. Like this is
Right.
crazy. But yeah, so just I would say, like just going through the years of that, obviously having the recruitment pick up, my first few offers started off as Ivy League offers. So like, I don't know if you guys know. So NMH really is like, it's a pipeline to the Ivy. So
Yeah.
like the most Ivy League players in the country came from NMH. We had
Hmm.
like of all
Oh wow.
time. So our head coach isn't there at the time, but he sent the most Ivy players to the Ivy League of like ever.
Okay.
At some points we had like 12 dudes from NMH in the Ivy League at one time. It just crazy numbers, but so
Crazy.
so he always really vouched for the high academic, and it's a good league. So he really preached that to us. But so it started off with like Yale, UPenn. I had like Brown, um, Columbia, and then I'll say getting towards like my junior year, end of sophomore year, I started getting like real high majors. I think my first high major was Penn State, and then ever since then, like it was just straight high majors for really just till my senior year. And the Ivy League schools kind of just backed off out of me because they were just like, all right, like he's not coming here. He's top 100 now. It's not really normal for that type of recruit to really entertain Ivy. It's like, all right, he's not thinking about going to an Ivy League school. Um, and I had took visits, to a few different places, like Colorado, Nebraska, Indiana was a really school that I was considering my junior year, Missouri. There's just so many schools, but the thing is, like, I was in school during the COVID area, so like my junior year, so many schools weren't able to actually come and see me play, and I wasn't able to visit them. And in that time, there's so many coaching changes where it's like so many coaches are getting fired. So like I'm having like a top 5 or top 3 list of schools that I really wanted to commit to at the time, and then they end up getting resigning or getting fired. Going different schools, picking up other jobs. So it was a lot of that. The coaching carousel was really crazy. So like I said, it was so many highs and lows where it's like, yo, you think you're rocking with a school, and a couple of weeks later, the coach is not even there. Um, so it's most definitely a headache with all the recruitment. But yeah, I like going into my senior year. Not too many people know because I didn't even post about it. But I committed to Kansas State for like a few weeks.
I
Um,
did not know about
Wow,
that.
yeah,
breaking
yeah,
news
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Making
So like
news right here.
most people, yeah, literally most people know, like in my inner circle and like other
Hmm.
coaches, because at the time when they recruited me, I'm like, yo, I just committed to Kansas State, but I didn't even end up posting it at the time. Um,
Who was the coach there at that time?
his name was Bruce Weber. So it was right before Jerome Tang, who is
Okay.
the coach
Okay.
now.
Yep.
He got the job. So Bruce Weber ended up retiring
Okay.
literally after they played in like the tournament. They lost. I think they lost in like the first round that year. Um, and the whole time he's like, "Yo, Avery, like, I'm excited for you to come in. The host staff is like, we're gonna get you on campus, play next year, da da da." And then he ends up retiring. I don't know. I've kind of had like a change of heart or something.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'm like, "Damn, I can't go there no more." So
Exactly.
that ended up happening, and they didn't hire Jerome Tang for like another couple months, and I wasn't gonna wait that waiting game. And
Hmm.
there's a couple other schools that were previously recruiting me heavy at the time, but like once you pass up on a school, they recruit the next man. So like
Yeah.
it was so many spots where it's like I could have had that, but they ended up getting another person to fill in the position. Um,
Hmm.
and then yeah, some schools came on late, but I was really heavy on like the trust factor and playing time, and how I was going to be valued in the system. All I really wanted to do when I got to college was play right away, and be in a good environment to do so. So I ended up committing to Columbia. My teammate, who's still with me now, we're both seniors. His name's Blair Thompson. He was committed to Columbia for like about a year, um, and their coaching staff always came to NMH and kept in contact even when I was like, yo, I'm committed to another school,
Hmm.
um, just showing love. So I,
Right.
I, I just trusted them. And yeah, it was kind of a no brainer for me, man, because it's like the second best school in the country academically. I knew I was going to play a great schedule. The Ivy League's a great league, um, full of talent, high IQ basketball. So I just thought it
Hmm.
was going to be a great fit.
Yeah.
And like you said, Steve, just advice for the kids, man. We're just like, I know a lot of people say it now, but just go where you're valued, man. Go where you're going to make an impact and play. And truthfully, I don't know how much of an impact I would have made if I went to Kansas State as a freshman.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like them having like Marquise Noel and a whole bunch of other guards they bring in. It's like I don't know how much I'm gonna play, behind those dudes as a freshman. And
Right.
in retrospect, man, that happening and me not going there is a blessing in disguise because I don't know how it would have turned out honestly. Like I knew what I was getting into by going to Columbia, and I knew what I
Mhm.
was going to get. And that's the best feeling in the world where you could prepare for something and just see yourself doing it. Going
Mhm.
into it without uncertainty. But yeah, just kids having that mindset. That's the best way to go about recruitment. There's so many highs and lows about it, but if you just stay heady, stay steady and keep working and just value what you value and do the right things, it'll all play out.
Yeah. Just to interject real quick, in terms of recruitment and stuff, obviously you're playing AAU on the circuit. Talk about the AAU life a little bit. Did recruitment pick up more because of AAU or because of NMH? Where'd that
Yeah.
recruitment kind of pick up at?
It was kind of a mix of both. Like I would say, like schools knew about me from like watching me play at NMH. But when I played for PSA, my last year
Hmm.
AAU. So like my sophomore year, there was no AAU.
Hmm.
And that's when schools were shut down and stuff like that. And then the next following summer, it was just Peace Jam, but it was like 2 weeks long. So it wasn't
Okay.
the traditional Peace Jam where you got different weekends and events. It was literally just 2 weeks of Peace Jam straight, and it was like a week coach could come and watch. So the whole process of my high school AAU experience wasn't like the normal what it is now, where guys playing 15, 16, 17s and playing every weekend and stuff like that. So um, I would say the time where coaches see me in person, I really made an emphasis to show out and play and just do what I do really. So I think seeing me it was kind of like an equal balance. And then I had the opportunity to go to like Pengo's All American camp, and I really played well there. Out in Las Vegas. That was a real talented group. Full of tons of NBA guys now. But just like averaging one of the most averages at that camp. Leading like the camp and like assists. I really try to go out there with a chip on my shoulder, and perform well, and that got me a lot of looks. I ended up picking up like the Arizona State offer that weekend, which was a really good look from Bobby Hurley. So yeah, stuff like that. Those type of events, you just really try to go in with a chip on your shoulder and just try to prove yourself.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely good advice. But yeah, maybe we could talk a little bit about your time in the Ivy League so far, and specifically last year you guys played Villanova at Villanova and won. Obviously, a big win for the program. So if you could just speak a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Me
Yeah,
and Abe had like what? I mean, like what? 18 points that game. A good game that game.
yeah.
He was
Now
killing.
it was a good game for sure. Yeah, those were one of those games where it's like, it's a buy game for us. So, they pay us to go play. Um, so you just go in there and just trying to ruin the whole vibe, man. Just really just be the whole
Right.
underdog. You go in there, like I said, with a chip on your shoulder, wanting to prove yourself. And for me, it's like, I know I could play at that level and I'm going to show you why, and like that I could be on that level. They take the Big East is in the Ivy League in terms of talent, size, and just recognition. So they might look down upon
Hmm.
us. But honestly, man, the talent gap between the mid major and the high major really isn't. It really isn't a difference. And I think it's coming to light now. When you got a lot of guys transferring up, um, in the transfer portal world now. But yeah, just going into that game, early in the season, like I said, chip on your shoulder, playing the right way. We played real physical with them, just executed the game plan, man, and it ended up coming with a win, which was a big win. One of our biggest in the school history. So, yeah, and just from time in the Ivy League in general, we haven't had the best in conference seasons. Um, Unfortunately, the last 3 years. So really just going into this year with a new coaching staff and and a new plan. You know, our coach was had assistant at Florida last year. So just learning a new style of basketball, new system, offensive and defensively. And honestly, it's been great because it fits my playing style. So I'm really excited for this upcoming season. But yeah, just trying to lead these guys to a great season. Last year, and I mean, I don't have any time to wait. You know, what I mean, every game's important. And just gotta ball out the season.
Yeah, so maybe every obviously new coaching staff you talked about coming from Power Five Florida, they definitely were a team last year that played up and down at a pretty high pace. And obviously in the Ivy League, there's a certain style of play. So maybe you could speak about that kind of style and play in the Ivy League versus what the new coaching staff has kind of brought over and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like it's really not too much of a difference between the way Ivy League teams play within like the Power Five teams. Like there's a lot of high paced teams in the Ivy League. Like Cornell is one of the most highest paced teams in the country. Yale plays pretty high pace. Honestly, Princeton offense, they were pretty high pace also. A lot of just spread offense, screening, a lot of back cuts. There's a lot of shooters, so the space is really, the floor is really spaced. So yeah, we didn't play as fast as I would like to the last few years. Like mainly a lot of my buckets come from transition and getting downhill. So just having a new system where it's like that's the emphasis and that's what we want to do, I think is really beneficial for me and my teammates. Just playing fast and really just playing hard and defending. And those really are emphasis. Coach Havdi is really putting into us like, we just value taking care of the ball and just effort and just playing fast pace. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Chuck, you have anything to add or?
Yeah, in terms of fast-paced offense, right? Obviously, we're point guards love get downhill. A lot of players though, they think fast pace is they play fast pace as being erratic,
Mhm.
going one speed downhill. They might cause some charges, turnovers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Give us a little insight from the point guard perspective of how important like pace is and playing at from fast to slow. Maybe you go fast here, you bring it out, and then you attack. You know what I'm saying? But give a little bit
Yeah.
insight on how important just pace is in general.
Yeah. I mean, I think and we kind of play like this at my high school and MH. Like we want to try and score in the first 4 seconds. So
Hmm.
if that's either flying the ball up by pass or I'm getting a rebound or outlet and pushing up the floor, crossing the floor and just trying to see what the defense gives you and just putting pressure on the rim.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what you really want to do. Just as a point guard, getting into the paint, trying to get a paint touch, sinking the defense in and spraying it out to, shooters or, if you got a duck in from a big, like hitting him. Just really, like I said, playing with pace and just seeing the floor. There's so many options when you push the pace and, like I said, get 2 feet in the paint and putting pressure on the rim because the defense has to react to that. And you just make reads after that. So yeah, like you said, not playing at one pace is what you want to do in terms of like a guard and you're erratic. But it's more of just you're doing something and if somebody steps in and helps, his man's going to be open. That's a kick out three. If he doesn't, you got a basket. So just knowing what the reads are, especially as a point guard beforehand, and you just reacting on the fly, and you under control. Good things will happen.
I don't know if you probably went through this going through some levels playing as like bigger, taller, stronger defenders. Obviously, when you were at prep and even probably even maybe at NMH, it was probably just easy for you to score.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Me and Steve at RPI, obviously I like to score the ball, like what I'm saying, I like to get buckets too, but it got to a point where, guys are getting bigger and my coach, instead of asking me to score the ball, he wanted me to get 2 feet in the paint, like you kind of just said, and
Mm-hmm.
start maybe giving a dump down, maybe start kicking for threes. Have you had to deal with that as you start to play against older and bigger and just stronger players? Or if not, what was just like your mindset in terms of the scoring aspect as you got into like higher levels?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I was always kind of a pass first type of player,
Hmm.
and it's kind of still been like my fault to this day where I'm too unselfish.
Right.
My dad gets on me all the time about it.
Yeah.
about being aggressive. And not that I'm not, but there's a lot of times where it's like I look to even pass and get an assist, or make the extra pass where I'll be open or something like that. But that's just how I've been playing my whole life, man. I really like to make the right basketball reads and plays, and just get my teammates involved. You probably could relate to this. Like, scoring is great, but if you make a dime or a great read or a pass and they make it and you get an assist, like, that feeling is low key better. And
Exactly.
that's just being
Very
real.
true.
Some people
Very
think
true.
that it's like you say that and it's like you just saying that because
Yeah.
that you think what people want to hear, but it's true.
Hmm.
Like, I'd rather dime somebody and they lay it up rather than me
Hmm.
get the two. It's just a better feeling for me. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it wasn't really too much of a emphasis on my coaches when I got to college where I got passed, because I always
Hmm.
try to make the right read, right?
Hmm.
I know like what's right from wrong in terms of making the right play.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that adjustment does happen a lot for a lot of players in college, where it's like you want to be aggressive, but you could be aggressive but make the right reads. You being aggressive will make the right read happen. So that's what I
Yeah.
try to tell a lot of the young players too, where it's like somebody's telling you to pass, it's not more, it's like you're not looking to score, but be aggressive. And if nobody, steps up and helps, then score. But when they do, you got to be able to make that pass.
Right.
And that's what all basketball is on any level.
So a lot of people they always hear about the pros of college and in general, whether it's on the basketball court or not. What were some of the cons of college? What were some things that maybe it was tough to go through? Like you were like, dang, like I'm down here, I need to get out this headspace
Mhm.
and kind of get back to where I need to get to. So what were some of those cons of college that people may not know about?
Yeah. The cons of college, like you said, just being in the right headspace. Um, like like I mentioned earlier, like I've had some losing seasons in conference. Um, and in the Ivy League, the top four teams make the playoffs, where it's like every game is so crucial and important. Once you lose a couple in a row, or you know, especially some close games, man, it really can mess with you, because all you do is want to win, right? And when you don't have that opportunity to do that, it really, it gets really stressful, and it can impact, everything else. So just being mature about how you go about the day to day process of college, in season, and even out of season, but in season, where it's like you got to move on to the next game. Just keep the same process, just trying to keep getting better, and having the right attitude about everything. Where it's like you're not soaking in practice the next day, where when you have a bad game or and you lose, the energy got to even raise. I had to learn that going through college, where it's like you care so much where you can really be affected about what can happen in the past. But just having the next play mentality and the next thing to focus on is really what I had to adjust to in college um the most.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question, Chuck, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
obviously, there's been some great players have played in the Ivy League that are now at bigger schools. Like obviously in the past, there's been Danny Wolf, there's
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Lee, Malik Mack. Who's maybe been an underrated player that doesn't get the hype of those guys that you've won against, that you felt, man, this was a tough day at the office?
um
Good question.
yeah, I would say uh as of right now, a really good player that we play against, not even at my position, but Nick Townsend on Yale. He's a big man on Yale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, he's like their four man, but he's really
Yeah.
skilled. I actually had the chance to play with him this summer. We played on a USA 3-on-3 team
Hmm.
in Germany this summer, and he was my teammate. But just really skilled, man, strong, makes the right reads, and he most definitely could play at a high level. Um, but yeah, just straight about business, man. He really is a true professional at the college level in terms of how he plays, and he's not like a flashy player. So it's like when you see Danny, I actually went to high school with Danny. He went to NMH too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I forgot
so
about
like a dude like Danny, where it's like 7 feet with a handle, could shoot,
that.
come off ball screens, make flashy passes. Those are gonna get all the clicks and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And they were actually teammates, Nick and Danny. They both
Hmm.
at Yale. But yeah, I actually, like, with Danny leaving, Nick kind of got his place and he was able to shine now. But he's most definitely a guy who's really underrated on the national scheme of just mid major basketball and how he plays.
Yeah.
That's,
Um,
that's a good pull. I've seen him a little bit just watching Yale play and stuff like that. And like you said, he doesn't look like a guy that's like
Yeah,
we're saying what you are, but if you could go to the stats and you kind of watch actually break down his actual game, he's someone that he's a bigger guy, he's a bruiser, and he
yeah,
has a form and stuff like that. So I like that answer right there for
yeah,
sure.
man. Honestly, I hate playing against him, bro. I just he began in the post. I'm just looking down,
Yeah, he's
trying to
huge.
get my man from getting the ball, but it's like he just cooking our big man. I'm like, damn, bro, like I can't even do nothing right now.
Yeah, what could you do?
Yeah, but nah, he's a great player for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, and then maybe you could just talk about, individually. I know you said it's your last year, uh, playing in college, maybe some goals you have for yourself and then the team. And then maybe lastly, you could talk about also, obviously, new coach coming in. What made you stay versus maybe transfer? Obviously, you see a lot of kids going into their senior year, getting a lot more looks in college now to transfer up. So maybe you could speak to that as well.
Yeah. And my main focus for this year, man, is just to win. Like every day it's just like win, 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 and do everything I can to make sure we win. Um, and it's playing on both sides of the ball, man. Really just having um great effort and just leading my team and not taking plays off and just being a mature basketball player at this point. It's my last year. But just not letting games slip away uh due to just immaturity. In the past we've lost a lot of games where we have a big lead. Then we ended up, turning the ball over and just and not being, a mature basketball team. And I think coming back with we're starting 4 seniors this year, and I think we have one of them. I think we have the most um, like seasoned team in the country in terms of years of experience. So I think that's gonna give us a big you know head start in terms of other teams where it's like we know how we play and what we want to do on the basketball court and just going out and executing it. And like I said, me being a point guard and leader of the team, just making sure we do that. And like I said, we have a new coaching staff, and it's been a great transition in terms of you know um, learning the system, they're a young staff, so it's like they're full of energy. Always want us to be in the gym, and that's kind of opposite of our last staff. We kind of had an older staff, and these guys are always around, wanting to get better, showing us a lot of film, and just doing things that showing us what we got to get better at. And there's a real emphasis of winning, and it's a great feeling. It's refreshing after not having the best seasons. So yeah, what was the last part of the question?
Yeah,
I'm
so
not sure.
just maybe you could speak to, obviously there's a transfer portal now is a
Oh,
big
transfer portal.
factor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, once we our coach, um, once it was announced that our coach was getting fired, obviously, you think like, is there another spot that could be more beneficial for my last year? So I did enter the transfer portal, heard from a lot of schools. Um, it was hearing coaches out. I didn't go on any visits because like at this point in college where you got 1 year left, it's like you're not in high school no more, and it's just more like transactional. It's like, yo, when I'm gonna get financially, because that's a lot of what literally the first thing coaches ask you when you're in the transfer portal nowadays, which is crazy. It's like, how much you want? Like, what's your number? Like, the first thing they said, like, yo, what's up? What's your number? Literally. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Not many people know that, but it's really transactional. Um,
Man.
so, yeah, I didn't really take any visits. I talked to a lot of schools, but the tricky part is when you're transferring, like, as a junior, is the credit situation. So it's like,
Yeah.
you might not get, you're not, like, for a lot of schools, you can't get their degree in just a year. Like,
Hmm.
you might have to do some more school. And I really wasn't trying to deal with that. And I just didn't really intend to really leave, man. I really was just seeing what was out there, and just trying in terms of opportunities. But I didn't know who we were going to bring in um, at the time. So, yeah, just hearing what was out there, man, and just getting a feel for things. But once we hired Coach Havdi, they were still in the NCAA tournament at the time. I think they were like in the Sweet 16 when he just announced that he was going to be the next head coach at Columbia. Florida was at the Sweet 16. He literally flew to see us, while they were playing. So he met with all of our seniors, and I had a great meeting with him. He was like, he really made it an emphasis that he wants me to stay and lead this team. And yeah, it just showed how in his system where I would be used at, and how he could see me being played. And it checked all the boxes for me, and I felt real comfortable about staying. I've never been the type to really go back and forth with teams and change and leave schools. Like the only school I really left, a lot of dudes now, go to a whole bunch of different high schools once they're unhappy, or AAU teams. I always been the type to kind of just stay, with one school and be loyal. Really, not that staying out of school and leaving is a bad thing, but I never really been that type of dude. So I knew I wanted to stay, and just getting a degree from Columbia was most important also.
Yeah. I was definitely thinking that definitely had a lot to do with it. Obviously, you're at Columbia is one of the best schools just in general, and that degree, obviously basketball is can take you far places, but that degree can also take you to a lot of places that basketball can't even take you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
um, and yeah, I really commend that. Staying there, staying loyal to Columbia as a school and to your team and stuff like that. Because obviously now it's something happens with the coach or you don't get enough playing time. Something happens like they're on the next flight to different schools. So you don't really
yeah,
see that much, and I think it's valuable when you see guys stay at a school for 4 years. You can build that camaraderie up with your team, just the community as a whole. So, um, yeah, and people don't really know about. They think transferring is super easy, but like it's not
yeah,
sometimes. You got
yeah.
like this stuff. It's a lot. I remember I tried to transfer out my sophomore year, and I was about to head to school, but it was like these credits won't you have to take a whole another year and a half doing school. So I'm like, it's a lot. People don't really understand that. So.
Nah, most definitely, man.
All right, man. I mean, I want you to think back. Think back to freshman year, Avery, coming into Fairfield Prep, 14, 15 years old. If you could tell yourself at that age any advice, what would you tell yourself back then?
Ah, um, man, I would just tell myself to live in the gym, literally. Like, at that age, like, obviously I love basketball and stuff like that, but like the grind got really serious as the years went on, and I always thought back, like if I had the same approach that I had like even later in high school, or even if I knew a tad bit of information that I knew how college would be and what would really takes to make like a great player at the collegiate level, um, man, I would just go back and train so differently, and then like and just focus on so many things that are actually useful for basketballs. But yeah, I would just tell myself to really just live in the gym, be a real student of the game, um, watch a lot of basketball, and just prepare yourself for college. Like early on in high school, like you're not really, I wasn't really too focused on it. I really was just living in the moment, focus on my next high school game and, you know, seeing like, what offers I can get, da da da. But all of that will come if you put in the right work. And yeah, that's why I would just tell myself, man, just keep it real simple and just tell myself, live in the gym. Man, all the other distractions of I don't even know what social media, anything, man, just forget it. None of it will matter. Just live in the gym.
Yeah. I think a lot of kids like at the end of the day, it's super simple. Like how much work you put in, how much you like dedicate yourself to
Yeah,
like this craft, whether it's basketball or anything, is like what you're getting out of it. And it's hard for like a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid to be like, see that longer picture. But as you get older,
facts,
I found this out in college myself. Like I wish I was back there doing 2 workouts a day,
facts.
going to the training room, get my body right, stretching before and after, and it's hard, but I mean that's the stuff that once you get to your level and beyond, that's what everyone's doing. So it's
Hmm.
like you start that at that 14, 15-year old, you're gonna put yourself at such an advantage. But that's interesting that you say that. And like I said before, this is huge for the college for our youth viewership and our youth just players in general. If you had any advice for the younger guys coming up in high school, trying to get to your level and beyond, what you got for those kids right there?
Yeah. I would just say, man, really try and develop a great work ethic at that high school level, on and off the court. I think, like I always say, like even when I have my camps and stuff like that over the summer, it's kind of like you're like the more doors will open for you once you take care of the school part, and that's not an issue. Um, and I think if you have that work ethic where you just care, you don't have to be a person where you study all the time in high school and doing your homework and for test. Because I wasn't even like that. Like I was really basketball focused, but I made sure my academics are straight. So just having that aspect down pat and just creating developing a great work ethic where you're just not taking plays off, being lazy. On the defensive side, everybody cares on offense, but um, just having that at a high school level, man, you're just gonna get a really great head start in college. Because not too many people have it, So I would say that because I wish I had that, in the high school level.
Yeah, what's up? I want to shout out AB1 Elite, AB1 Elite Camp.
Yeah,
I
facts,
forgot
facts.
Abe has his stuff going on back here in Connecticut, showing love to the Connecticut players, Connecticut kids. You got my boy Cheeto on the elite team,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
from St. Luke. So yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to that. And I think it's huge that you as well as your dad, I saw him coaching pretty recently, are giving back to where you grew up at in Connecticut. I mean, obviously Connecticut is underlooked state in terms of basketball talent, but there's definitely talent here. I think it's huge that you're giving back, you're looking out for these Connecticut kids because you could be long gone away and just worry about yourself. So
yeah.
want to give flowers on that as well. But Ave, man, this is first episode with guests, man. I think this is awesome, bro. I actually super appreciate you for coming on, giving your insights of what college basketball is like, giving your insights on your background, your story, man. So we appreciate you, bro.
No, I appreciate you, man. Hey, like you were saying earlier, man, you're like a true brother to me.
Yes,
And
sir.
you know, how it is being Connecticut, man. You like this basketball world is so competitive. There's a lot of dudes that hate or just don't really show true love. But you and your fam always have shown that genuine love, and I hope it's always been mutual since we were young, bro. So hey, I'm hella proud of you too, bro. With all the training and like you said, developing these kids and trying to make sure that our generation of Connecticut players, or even across the social media world, is getting better, bro. It's a privilege to see.
Yes, sir, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for hopping on, man.
No doubt, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode of It's Just Work Pod. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, do all of that. We'll see you guys next time.